Why your soft girl era is the most dangerous business strategy you'll ever deploy. Welcome to the Soft Girl Era podcast, where we unlearn survival and rediscover softness. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. Today, I want to share something that will fundamentally shift how you think about success, ambition, and what it means to build a life and career that doesn't cost you your peace. I recently sat down with Bonnie Dickey, and what they shared with me completely rewired my understanding of sustainable success. Bonnie is doing extraordinary world changing work helping Black professionals and entrepreneurs reimagine what it means to thrive without sacrificing their humanity. They're not just coaching people through career transitions, they're dismantling the lie that we have to destroy ourselves to matter. They're building a movement that says your rest is revolutionary, your boundaries are business strategy, and your softness is your superpower. Their insights are exactly what we need to hear right now in this soft girl era. So let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. When you hear the phrase soft girl era, what's your first reaction? Be honest. Do you think it's about aesthetics, pastels, and bubble baths? Do you think it's about opting out of ambition or lowering your standards? Maybe you think it's something you'll consider once you've made it, once the bills are paid, once you've proven yourself. Here's what I need you to hear. What if I told you that softness, especially for Black women, is actually a competitive business strategy? What if the very thing we've been taught to suppress, rest, boundaries, emotional honesty, joy, is the thing that will keep us in the game long enough to win? What if everything you've been told about success is designed to exhaust you before you ever reach the finish line? That's the counterintuitive, disruptive truth Bonnie Dickey brought to our conversation. And it's the truth I need to unpack with you today. Because this isn't just theory, this is survival. We've been sold a story, and it's killing us. The story says that if you want to succeed as a Black woman, you have to work twice as hard, show up twice as early, and never let them see you sweat. The story says that softness is a luxury you can't afford. That rest is for people who don't have bills to pay or glass ceilings to shatter. That if you slow down, even for a moment, you'll lose your seat at the table. That your exhaustion is the price of entry. But here's what the data actually shows. And I need you to really hear this. Black women are overrepresented in leadership conversations, but we are deeply structurally underprotected by the systems that are supposed to sustain us. We're celebrated as the backbone of democracy, the heartbeat of our communities, the MVPs of every boardroom and ballot box. We're told we're magic. We're told we're unstoppable. We're told we're essential. But when we look at the numbers, the story gets darker, much darker. In late 2025, Black women's unemployment rate sat at 7.1% compared to 5.9% the year before. Black workers overall face an unemployment rate nearly double the national average, with longer periods of joblessness and higher economic risk. And when it comes to funding, only 7% of venture capital reaches women owned businesses globally. In sectors like off grid energy, just 5% of investments went to locally owned enterprises in 2022, even though women led, locally owned ventures often create the deepest social impact. Let me say this plainly so there's no confusion. The system is rigged, and you don't have to run your life like it's your fault. This is where Bonnie Dickey's work becomes so vital, so necessary, so life saving. They're helping Black professionals and entrepreneurs see that the soft girl era is not about checking out of ambition. It's about switching from survival led achievement to nervous system safe, values led success. It's about using rest, emotional honesty, and boundaries as productivity tools, not signs that you can't hack it. It's about treating joy, community, and spaciousness as business assets that reduce burnout, improve decision making, and extend your career runway. And here's the part that might surprise you, that might even make you angry at first. The more structurally hostile the environment is to Black women, the more it becomes a strategic advantage to build in a way that honors softness, because softness keeps you resourced enough to stay in the game long term, to negotiate from a place of power instead of exhaustion, to innovate instead of just survive. Softness is not weakness, softness is warfare. Let me give you a real example that proves this point. The Tony Elumalu Foundation launched a program specifically targeting African women led green businesses. They provided $5,000 in non refundable seed capital to each entrepreneur. But here's what matters: they didn't just throw money at these women and tell them to hustle harder. They provided comprehensive business management training, a customized green curriculum, mentorship, and lifetime access to a digital platform for ongoing learning and networking. In the first cohort alone, they empowered 751 African women led green businesses with about $3.99 million in funding. And here's what happened: those businesses didn't just survive, they thrived. The Tony Elumalu Foundation's broader programs have disbursed over $100 million dollars to 24,000 African entrepreneurs who collectively created over 1.5 million direct and indirect jobs and generated over $4.2 billion dollars in revenue. They've pulled over 2 million Africans out of poverty and trained over 2.5 million young Africans. Now, why does this matter for our conversation about softness? Because this program recognized something revolutionary. When Black women are resourced and not just funded, but truly supported with capital, training, mentorship, community, and ongoing resources, we build businesses that are sustainable, impactful, and resilient. We build businesses that honor our values, that serve our communities, that allow us to breathe. This is what values aligned growth looks like. It's not about grinding until you burn out. It's about building something that can last because you're building it from a place of wholeness, not depletion. Let me share another powerful example. Kelly Todd Griffin founded a Black women's think tank in California. In over 2 years, they trained 34 adult women leaders and over 500 middle and high school girls in leadership, advocacy, and financial literacy. Griffin talks about the practice of reset, encouraging Black women to refuse stagnation, recalibrate their goals, and adjust their strategies in response to changing political and economic landscapes. Here's what struck me about this work, what kept me up at night thinking about it. It's not just about teaching skills, it's about creating a pipeline of Black women leaders who are equipped with the confidence, the tools, and the support to step into power without inheriting burnout. It's about ensuring that the next generation of Black women doesn't have to choose between their ambition and their peace. It's about breaking the cycle. Because here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud: we've been carrying the weight of survival for so long that we've forgotten what it feels like to be supported. We've been told that strength means never asking for help, never saying no, never admitting that we're tired. But that's not strength, that's survival. And survival is not the same thing as thriving. Survival is what you do when you have no other choice. Thriving is what happens when you finally give yourself permission to live. Bonnie Dickey reminded me of something crucial, something I want you to write down right now. Your support systems are as critical as your skills or strategy. Programs that center Black women's leadership, training, and entrepreneurship are proving that when we are adequately supported, we create jobs, drive community impact, and shift entire sectors. And we need to translate that into our personal lives. We need to build our support stack, mentors, peers, therapists, coaches, rest practices as intentionally as we build our resumes, our products, our pitch decks. Now, I know some of you are listening and thinking, LeAnne, this sounds beautiful, but I have bills to pay. I have a family to support. I can't afford to be soft. And I hear you. I really do. But here's what I want you to consider, what I need you to sit with. Softness is not about doing less, it's about doing differently. It's about designing your career or your business around nervous system safety, aligned clients, sustainable pace, and values based decision making. So you're not constantly trading your health and joy for income or titles. Let me be crystal clear. This is not about privilege. This is about survival. Because the data shows us that the grind at all cost model is especially dangerous in a labor market where Black women bear disproportionate risk. When Black women's unemployment remains elevated, when we face longer spells of joblessness, when we're concentrated in sectors that are vulnerable to layoffs and policy shifts, the hustle harder narrative becomes a trap. It keeps us running on a treadmill that was never designed for us to win. It keeps us exhausted, depleted, and one emergency away from collapse. So, what does it look like to build differently? It starts with asking yourself one powerful question. If I stopped building my career or business from a place of proving and started building it from a place of being fully resourced emotionally, mentally, and financially, what would I change in the next 90 days? It means identifying one boundary, one support, and one softness practice, whether that's rest, joy, delegation, therapy, or saying no, and intentionally implementing it over the next month. And then noticing, really paying attention to how it shifts your energy, your creativity, your decision making. It means recognizing that when you protect your peace, you're not being selfish. You're being strategic because a rested, resourced, joyful version of you makes better decisions, builds stronger relationships, creates more sustainable businesses, and shows up more powerfully in every area of your life. This is what the soft girl era is really about. It's the sacred pause Black women have been waiting for. It's not a trend, it's a lifestyle rebellion, a deep exhale from the Superwoman script, a quiet but powerful return to softness, rest, self trust, and radical joy. So, here are the three things I want you to take away from this conversation with Bonnie Dickey. Three truths that will change everything if you let them. First, softness is a strategy, not a liability. For Black professionals and entrepreneurs, your soft girl era can be a deliberate business model, designing your career or company around nervous system safety, aligned clients, sustainable pace, and values based decision making. Second, data proves the system is rigged and you don't have to run your life like it's your fault. Understanding the structural inequities gives you permission to stop hustling for worthiness and start designing for sustainability. Third, your support systems are as critical as your skills or strategy. Build your support stack as intentionally as you build everything else in your life. Now, here's my challenge to you, and I mean this with everything in me. I want you to stop right now and ask yourself this question. If you stopped building from a place of proving and started building from a place of being fully resourced, what would you change? What boundary would you set? What support would you seek? What softness practice would you embrace? Because the truth is, we don't need more Black women burning out in pursuit of success. We need more Black women thriving, leading, and building from a place of wholeness. We need you rested, resourced, and radically joyful. We need you to stop apologizing for taking up space, for saying no, for choosing yourself. We need you to understand that your softness is not a weakness to overcome, it's a weapon they never saw coming. So here's what I'm asking you to do. In the next 30 days, implement one boundary, seek one support, and practice one act of softness. And then watch what happens. Watch how your energy shifts. Watch how your creativity expands. Watch how your power multiplies when it's no longer being drained by systems that were never built for you. This is your invitation. This is your permission slip. This is your revolution. Stop waiting for the world to give you space. Take it. Stop waiting for permission to rest. Give it to yourself. Stop building a life that costs you your peace. Start building one that protects it. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to be soft, and you are allowed to thrive. Not someday, not when you've earned it, right now, today, this moment. The question is, will you?